What is the best comedy advice you've ever been given?
I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. Was the first great advice I got, because it made me feel like I was on the right path and I could trust whatever it was that I was thinking at that time. And that was Michael McDonald, the one from Boston, not the guy from Canada. He gave me that advice in the long gone Stitches Comedy Club. And then Dave Chappelle, I remember in like 1998, he said to me, he was sitting on the stairs waiting to go on. I was on stage at the Cellar, the stairs you come down.
Yeah.
He was sitting there and just waiting to go on, heard some of the stuff I was doing, and he told me, he basically said, the road that you're going, he goes, it's going to take you longer, but when you hit, you're going to hit hard, because, basically saying it was a solid foundation. And that, like, him just taking 3 seconds to say that to me, like, sustained me for like 4 years on the road. Those years I call, when you're good enough to be doing, but nobody knows you. I call it like the killing in obscurity years. You're just in the middle of nowhere, going up there every night, just going up. There's like third full, half full. They've given away the show and nobody gives a... And just that first 12 minutes of just trying to get them on board that you're worthy of listening to. And then getting off stage and then having those people coming up going, wow, you're one of the funniest guys they've had out here, and blah, 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 blah.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? And rather than being like, yeah, what the f am I doing here, and getting depressed, you look at that as like, when those explorers would start to see tree branches in the water, you're like, okay, I'm getting to land. I just got to keep going in this direction. So stuff like that. And then, like, I remember the first time somebody came out, a college booker came out when I was still in Boston. And after everybody did their sets, and afterwards everyone was going up and schmoozing with the agent or whatever. And I said to this guy, Tony V, I said, oh, man, I go... I'm so bad at that. I'm really bad at schmoozing or whatever. And he was just sitting there. I remember he was just sitting there relaxed. I forget, I always picture him smoking a cigar, because we always smoke cigars. He was just like, I was like, yeah, man, I'm so bad at it. And he goes, oh, yeah? He goes, well, get good at it. And then he kind of went back to whatever he was doing. And I remember it was a really profound moment where I was just like, all right, so this is a skill, and I can't improve on it, and evidently it's really important, because the way he said it was really fatherly. It was no quarter. He just said it straight out, and I was like, I need to come out of my shell, because I was really like, I was completely withdrawn when I first started doing stand-up. It's half the reason I did stand-up. Stand-up was basically, I'm going to get on stage, show people that I'm funny, and I'm a good, and then everybody's going to stop with me. Like, that was the formula. Of course, that didn't happen. I went up there and immediately got heckled. And it was just, the more of the same thing. But I don't know. But it was like moments like that I guess kind of pushed me along.
What is the worst comedy advice you've ever been given?
What sticks out in my head? This guy had a showcase to do half-hour comedies on Showtime at the Comedy Store. And I was living in New York at the time. And to do the showcase, I had to fly myself out. Right there, I should have said no. I should have had the confidence to be like, you know what, someday I'm going to be good enough where, this is going to be... I'm obviously not at a place to get a half-hour comedy if I have to fly my way out there. But instead, like, I'm like, okay, show business. And I put it didn't have, I don't have enough money to fly out there, just to do it. But I invested in myself, so I did it. And I went out there. I show up for the showcase. It's at the Comedy Store in the original room. And I am the first guy on the showcase. And people go, there's 3 people in the crowd. There was 3 people in the crowd. And or maybe there was 3 and 2. I remember the 3 was a black guy with these 2 white women on either side of him, middle-aged. And then I think there was one other person. And they, of course, were talking. And this is, my dream has always been at this point, to do a special. So I go up there to do and, there's 3 people and they're talking. So I had to talk to them. And I made fun of the fact that I flew all the way out there for this showcase, and there's 3 people in the room, and blah, 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 blah. And then I would do a few jokes, and there was barely any laughter, and yada, yada, and so whatever. So I get off stage, and the guy who booked the thing comes up to me. And he walks up to me and he goes, 7 times. 7 times in a 10-minute set, you brought up that there was nobody there at the showcase. Okay, we know the jokes. We can hear if the material's there. You know, you stand on stage and you just keep going like, you know, there's nobody here. The crowd starts thinking, yeah, well, what am I doing here? It's like, dude, there's no crowd here. And I've never been so mad in my, well, of course I have, but I was livid at that guy. I walked away and immediately it was a waste of time. I want to be like, dude, I've paid my way out here to do your special, and your showcase, and you didn't do any work to put anybody in the crowd. And I had to showcase in front of 3 people, and just the way he was coming at me, like, because he went, no, you're still in the running. That's what pissed me off. You're still in the running. I want to be like, dude, whether you pick me or not, I'm not sitting here waiting for you to tap me with your magic wand. You can make it now. You either want me or not. But that hole in there is your responsibility. This is your showcase, okay? So this is what I wanted to say, but I was too scared to say it. This is what I said to the windshield of my rented car as I drove away. And it was like, and the advice he was giving me was, don't address the situation, which is one of the first things that you learn as a comedian. The first time you walk up on stage and there's a fist fight in the crowd or somebody just threw up and you make the decision to just go into your act. We've all done that.
Yeah.
And you're literally in a comedy vacuum. It's like they're showing a video of you in a comedy club where a crowd's actually paying attention in front of this crowd that isn't listening. And that's one of the first things that I noticed. Like, look, if the room was full and nobody was laughing, then that is on me, and I shouldn't on the crowd, and I should be a professional because maybe the next guy's going to come up and get him. Okay, but if I go up and there's 3 people and 2 people over there, and 3 of them are talking, when the wait staff outnumbers the people in the crowd, like, I mean, I have to do what I have to do, and like just the way it was, there was that thing once again, the way he came at me. Now, once again, what he said to me went into my ears and was cut with my childhood. So maybe I was wrong, but that's one. And there's a lot of times I look back on some where I go, I owe that person an apology. I was wrong. I get it now, or I've cooled off now. But that's one that to this day that I look back on. You have your classic half dozen. Yeah. That teacher. I had a teacher called me the dumbest kid in the room, and I still think about that to this day. And I was not wrong in that situation, and but that was one that I still look back on. That was like, Jesus Christ, that was probably 10 years ago, and and I've seen that person since, and I never brought it up, and I got along with them and everything like that, and that's been like a big thing in this business where I've never done that. We're like, someday I'm going to be here, and then I'm going to walk in and be like, yeah, you fuck a few, and yeah. I think that, but when the moment comes, it's just like, I don't give a shit.
You really need to rise above in show business. Like
it's not even rising above. I don't even give a shit.
But you need to get over and let it go.
Right.
In show business, it seems.
I think in life, in general, like, no, because then what
That's
they do...
That's the mistake I'm making. I'm not applying the show business principles to the life principles.
Well, the thing is if you do that, then you've allowed somebody to take the joy. It stops being like, I'm not doing stand-up anymore because this is the funnest job for the way I'm wired that I could possibly have. Is it funnest a word? Most fun job I could have. It now becomes, I'm doing this to tell this guy to go for himself. And then it's just like poison leaking into your soul every time you're going up there, and you will become the bitter guy. That boo boo boo